these minutes. I will try to make it shorter, some technical issue, but here I am. So I know we are few here, but I hope the number will grow. It's because of we are late. Technical issue, but let's start to see if in this journey that we will have together, e-commerce is really a place open for everyone. Because this is what we might think when we think about the e-commerce, when we think about the internet, we think about a place that is available and accessible by everyone easily with no problem. And it's not like this. I will pass through different points, trying to do my best also in replying to some of your questions, if you will have it. Can you hear me? Yes, I think. So we will see the two concepts of internet and inclusion, then how disability really passed from the screen. As well as diversity and social responsibility. Those two words are words that maybe you have heard a lot. Nowadays are more and more common. It's like being resilient, isn't it? They became almost fashionable words, but we will see that the implementation of diversity and social responsibility online is not easy. We will see examples, finally, maybe the thing that might be more interesting for you, examples of e-commerce that integrates services for people living with disabilities. And when I'm saying living with disabilities, I mean really different kind of disabilities. And what to expect also from e-commerce giants. When I'm saying e-commerce giants, I might refer to Amazon, for instance, Mr. Bezos. Also a foray on the esports. Actually, there are some games that have facilities for people with disabilities. And the quick conclusion. So, do you recognize the man on the background of that picture? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't see anyone in the chat saying anything. So I'm gonna do the harder worker for you. It's Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the man who invented the internet. So he invented the World Wide Web as we know it in 1989. It's true that internet, the World Wide Web, represented an incredible and positive revolution for the whole humanity. But why? The web is not inclusive because it's not the land of freedom. I'm asking here to you, but it's not. As Sir Berners-Lee has replied to John Thornhill in this interview, we know how to fire rockets into the sky. We should be able to build constructive social networks, referring to social networks. And let me say, okay, but also for the internet. So disability is an evolving and multidimensional concept. I think, I will not launch a poll, but I'm pretty sure that when I'm referring to disability, you might have in mind someone on a wheelchair. It's not your fault if you are thinking of someone in the wheelchair, because since we were kids, we have seen that symbol to indicate people with disabilities. But this is one disability. There are many different disabilities. Some of them are not visible. Just 1 second. I'm receiving a phone call from your boss. Hey. Hi, do you hear me? No, maybe it was just a mistake. Normally I do not reply to phone calls. It was from the managers. So from the managers here of the Digital Conference Europe. So everyone will face a disability condition in his life. Even if nowadays we are strong and we feel powerful despite the COVID-19 situation and the pandemic that really reshaped our lives, it might be temporarily or permanent disability. but we will all have difficulties by getting older. So first of all, let's start thinking about disability in that way. We will all become, at a certain moment of life, if we will be lucky enough to get older, disabled at a certain moment. Imagine 1 billion people, 15% of the world population suffer from some form of.
Hi.
Hey.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can you please turn on and off your presentation because the screen is split in half?
Okay. Yes, of course. I was looking it correctly. Okay. Sorry. Let me do it again. Is it working now? Is always split?
No, try turning it on and off again.
Okay, another time. So for those who are there, please be patient. Okay, again.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, now.
Okay, fantastic. I don't know, magic. Okay, thank you, Beata, thank you. So 15% of the world population, 1 billion of people, suffer from some form of disability. And those data are the ones from World Bank data. Thinking about e-commerce right now, thinking about the possibilities of this public, maybe you're not taking them into consideration, but they represent 15% of the world population. It is not a little number. So we know that e-commerce and businesses, they are seeking for results, sales, ROAS, so a return on advertisement spends, ROI, return on investment. Let's force them to see people with disabilities as a resource. If they are not interested for a social diversity purpose, let's make them understand, and by them I mean the companies, let them understand that people with disabilities, they have a wallet. And nowadays, this is an untapped opportunity for many e-business. Because inclusion, this word we are always hearing talking of, means empowering all to participate in and benefit from the development process. So we might consider the embracing different tools to make our e-commerce, our website inclusive as an opportunity, as a possibility to sell more products, and also as a communication tool. And I will explain you why as a communication tool. Give me just 1 second. Just to give you a glimpse on few markets. First of all, let's reshape the way in which we think about disability. Having a disability places you in the world's largest minority group. So yes, it's a minority group, but it's the world's largest one. Second, in US, people with disabilities make up an enormous and powerful economic group. 26% of the population in US is reported living with at least one type of disability. And again, they have a wallet, they buy online, but they buy online where they find inclusion, where they find that the website is correctly built also for their abilities. In UK, the number of disabled adults who were recent internet users in 2020, and why 2020? Because with the pandemic, you have seen an explosion of e-commerces, services, etc. online, reached almost 11 million, 81% of disabled adults. So internet users means that turn their attention into the internet, buying, browsing, informing themselves, of course, not only buying. In Europe, it's more difficult to have a clear number. Why? Because each country in Europe has a different way to label disabilities, and they are not sharing data, which is a pity, unfortunately. So the last accurate estimates from a few years ago was more than 100 million people living with disabilities. If you are interested in this market, or even if you want to make your website really inclusive, really social responsible, it's time to take into consideration those persons. Because as I told you, everyone will have at a certain moment of his life a disability. People with disabilities are an unserved community with money to spend. While this buying power represents an incredible opportunity for marketers, the majority are missing the mark. And I'm pretty sure that if you're here to see who are those brands that are doing their job correctly, that are really inclusive. Web accessibility means integrating sites with tools. There is nothing complicated to do, okay? Don't start thinking to revolution your company, your website with a new IT manager. No, there are already easy tools for you. You can also offer choices so that people with disabilities can surf, shop, ship the products and services they need easily without stress. When I'm talking about embrace diversity, the first maybe item you might have in mind if you're familiar with sportswear was or should be, might be the new Nike pair of shoes, the one that you can see in the background of the presentation, that you can wear without the use of any hands. So there was a lot of people talking about this new pair of shoes launched by Nike at the beginning of this year, 2021, the first pair of shoes for everyone. They were studying on this pair of shoes since a couple of years. And of course, this is a great design solution, but this is a design solution that when they started working on it was with the intention of supporting people with disabilities. But then they've seen that the market, so even people that have no disability at all, they are tired to tie their own, to make their own laces. So think about maybe your own way to take off your shoes. Nowadays, more and more, you prefer to wear shoes you do not even have to touch, or that you can slip easily without unlace it. So here, it's a double combination. The design required by a specific market, people with disabilities, but that meets also the new needs of the customers nowadays. So from one end, I'm like, fantastic, Nike, yeah, you made something great for people with disabilities. But then I accessed to the website of Nike from Italy, and there are no tools that might support the user that might have different disabilities in browsing on the Nike website. I was surprised. But I'm not so shocked because we are in Europe, we are not in US. In US, there is a law. There is a law that is called ADA that support. It's American with Disabilities Act. So it's a guideline that in US all the e-commerces they need to follow. If here someone of you has a familiarity with the US market, you know that if you're selling something there, you need to provide a version of your website for people with disabilities by law. If not, you will be fined, and you don't want to receive a fine, I guess. So it's since 2010 that ADA, American with Disabilities Act, worked on this web content accessibility guideline. And the question is, and I would like you to ask for that change, if Nike is implementing the ADA, so the Americans with Disability Act, in US, and they provide in US for US users the possibility to browse their website also if they have disabilities, why they don't do the same in Europe? They have already developed everything. The problem is that in Europe there is not a law, so we should ask for that as customers. This should be one of our priorities. Again, you might not have a disability today, but you might have a disability tomorrow, even when you will be older enough, and maybe you will start having problem with your view. I already have problem with my view. Normally I use glasses. Equal opportunities and respect. So this is the first point. Nike, you are doing this in the US, and like you, also many other e-commerce that have a US website and with an e-commerce. So why you are not implementing the same tools in Europe? In Europe, but worldwide. Equal opportunities and respect. What does it mean? I'm going to show you this picture on the background. You see Prada Group joins the Valuable 500. I don't know if you have ever heard talking about the Valuable 500. The Valuable 500 is a community of people that started to turn the spotlight on the inclusion, which means different businesses. The latest news of the latest company that joined the Valuable 500 is not Prada, is Zappos. What does it mean to join this community? It means that you share your concrete willing to support people with disabilities in different ways. For Prada, for instance, when they joined the Valuable 500 at the beginning of this year in January, they joined in the way in which they said, we will employ people with Down syndromes in our stores. So we are signing, let's say, kind of contract with the Valuable 500 because we want to include people with disabilities in all the steps of our strategy. That's fantastic. I mean, that's fantastic, but I want more. I want that the Prada website will be available, easy to browse, also for people with disabilities. If you start searching and reading online corporate social responsibility communication from brands, you will see that even from LVMH, Louis Vuitton, ONC, to Salvatore Ferragamo, passing from Caring Group, they all write to promote equality, counteracting any type of discrimination based on age, ethnic origin, nationality, gender identity, physical and mental disabilities. If it is really like this, because those are, for instance, this is a quote from LVMH website. Yeah, fantastic. I love to read these sentences, but I want you to see acting. So Prada is an example. They joined and they will employ people with Down syndromes in their stores. I'm expecting that by the end of the year, at least. Why I do not see taken into consideration the willing of people with disabilities starting from their browsing experience? I'm asking that to you. A good example, let me start with a good example of how some companies have started really to implement their tools, taking into consideration people with disabilities. Vente Privée. Vente Privée is a flash sales website. It is the leader in Europe. Nowadays, it changed the name from Vente Privée in VP. This is why you can see VP on top center, their logo. It was Vente Privée, like private sales, okay? You see in the big arrow, the violet arrow, I indicate, I know it's in Italian, a button where there is written in Italian, spazio sordi, which means deaf space. If you have problems and you do not hear, you have the opportunity to talk with, and you see also the screen, to turn on the camera and to speak the international language site with someone that from Monday to Tuesday, from 10 to 12 will be available for you Monday to Friday, I guess. So this is, you might say, but this is not enough. No, this is just a good starting point. Why only VP Bon Privé is doing this? Why this is not a common practice for everyone? We hear, I didn't introduce myself, but I am a digital marketing manager and a digital e-commerce consultant for the luxury field. I worked for all fashion brands, luxury fashion brands, Italian and French one. Why? Why only? We said that the customer are at the center of our proposition, that we need to listen to our customer, that the customer service is so important. Why you do not take into consideration among your customers also people with disabilities, providing them the right support? It might be just a couple of hours, it's better than nothing. You might say, but it is useless. They can chat, typing. It's true, but you can also chat and typing, but maybe you prefer to talk because the communication is faster rather than to type. So if I can talk with someone that knows that the French sign language, I'm happy. I prefer, I want to know. Unfortunately, it is working only in French, and they do not have anyone that speaks also other languages. But as it is a French company, I might understand why they prioritize the French community. But this is an example that I invite all the companies to take into consideration. Now, of course, you might say that not all the companies have the budget to implement this. By the way, it's 2 hours per day from Monday to Friday. You can see here, this is an example of ZARA Home. You all know ZARA. You see my big violet arrow indicating a little symbol, I hope you are able to see it, of this little man. I guess you see it. I hope. This little man, maybe you have noticed it already. Maybe you have never noticed it. I would like to see if someone can tell me. Have you ever noticed this little symbol on ZARA or any other website, any other e-commerce? Okay, very shy. Maybe no. Or maybe yes. From now on, I invite you to search for this symbol, because this symbol is a symbol that when you click on it, you will have this window opening. It's a symbol from a tool, an easy tool that everyone can implement on his website. The tool is provided by a company called Equal Web. I'm not working for them. I'm just saying Equal Web is the solution for all the websites that want to provide an experience available for people with disabilities. And you see that by clicking on this little man, you can regulate the audio, the video, the brightness of your screen, the size of the font. You can have a text reader, because maybe you cannot read, maybe you do not see. You can turn off the possible GIF, videos, etc. You have a lot of opportunities. You can stop to use the mouse, because for you maybe it's better to use vocal command or or your laptop directly. So this tool, Equal Web, is nothing complicated. It's easy to implement, and it offers already a great opportunity. This is on ZARA Home, because when you go on zara.com, until 3 months ago, that was the reply I got it when I asked it to ZARA Ready to Wear. is it possible to have to browse your website, your e-commerce for people with disabilities? 3 months ago, the reply I got was this one. There was not a platform that was dedicated or that was able to support people with disabilities. You are Zara. Ay, 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 Zara, isn't it? Nowadays, they have implemented it. Luckily, maybe they found the courage. It was on Zara Home, why it couldn't be on Zara.com. Then, let me show you another multi-brand retailer from Canada this time, and they're based in Canada, Essence. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. They have an accessibility statement in their footer. So I clicked on it thinking, okay, maybe I will be able to browse on Sense with thinking about some disabilities. And their accessibility page is this one, the one that you have difficulties in reading, because I have it, written very little, and there is written, if you're having difficulty viewing, navigating, or browsing content on our website or mobile app, or notice any content, feature, or function that you believe is not fully accessible to people who are different able, please contact our customer care team. Sorry, are you joking? I'm like, are you joking, Essence? I mean, your accessibility page is written so little that I have difficulties in reading it. And you're basically saying that because your website is so terrible, I should notify you by sending you an email. Crazy. Now I need to rush because I know that only 5 minutes left, unfortunately. But I mean, this is not a solution from Sense. Look at Louis Vuitton. This is the Louis Vuitton website nowadays. I found here the sustainability page. I appreciate that. But where is the accessibility page? Everything is all about sustainability. Today, maybe because we just celebrated the Earth Day last week, but the Earth, but also the people. Where are the people with disabilities? Why you don't take them into consideration? I would like to show you this video, but I'm afraid there will be possible issues, so I prefer not to share it. But this is an advertisement that Amazon Eco broadcasted in 2019 in the UK market. You follow for 1 minute or 30 seconds, it depends, the story of this actress. She's blind. She do not see. And she communicate with Alexa Eco to know the weather, to know the temperature, to know the information, etc. Imagine all the possibilities that are for the vocal commerce, from the vocal commerce. Open really to support people with disabilities. So I invite you, maybe vocal commerce for you might not be possible yet, but start with Equal Web. Start with implementing some tools to make easier for people with disabilities the access to your e-commerce. Last number before the end. The disability market is larger than China. So at least this statement could convince your CEO, your marketing manager, to start to implement those tools to make your e-commerce really inclusive. 1.85 billion of people and 1.9 trillion of US dollar in annual disposable income. I think that there is nothing I can add. I had also another video, but we slide a lot. So from e-commerce to esports, let's act for change. In sports, there is a game, Last Tale of Us, that has implemented a modality so that even people with disabilities that are blind can play. The main goal of the internet, we should remember, it is to make available to each of us all the advantages that this technology has brought in our lives. So whatever might be my native language, my culture, my geographic location, my physical or mental disabilities. This is why I really invite you to start and act for the change. I need to leave you. I hope that in case you have questions, you can contact me. This is my email. If you scan the QR code, you will be redirected to my LinkedIn page. And I hope to have awakened your possibilities, because the internet has to be a place for everyone, and not just the repetition of the difficulties that people with disabilities might encounter in the brick and mortar world. So if you do not have any question, I think I can really leave you. Tell me. I think I can. Okay, so thank you so much for your attention. I hope and I wish to have the possibility to meet you, those who are listening to me. And thank you, Anelia. In case really you have any interest into this topic, feel free to contact me, and I will be more than happy to reply and to go further with this discussion. Thank you so much. Bye bye. I'm still on the streaming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.